Remember the top FEMA official who claimed he once teleported to a Waffle House? The one who was also in charge of this country's disaster response? Well, he's in charge no longer. A FEMA spokesperson told the New York Times Greg Phillips is taking leave for personal reasons. But the Washington Post, which first broke this story, reports that he was asked to step away from his role because of how the public perceived him, according to a person familiar with the situation. In other words, people thought he was a quack. And to be fair, claiming you can teleport to a Waffle House might do that. For anyone who missed it, here's part of the clip, which CNN obtained.
I end up at a Waffle House like 50 miles away from where I was. They said, "Where are you?" I said, "A Waffle House." They said, "Waffle House where?" And I said, "Waffle House in Rome, Georgia." I said, "That's not possible. You just left here like a moment ago." But it was possible. It was real.
Listen, I love and appreciate a Waffle House as much as the next gal, especially around 2 a.m. after a few rounds. But if you are going to claim the power of teleportation, wouldn't you choose somewhere a little more exotic? I don't know, a lobster shack on the Maine coast, or Cafe Du Monde in New Orleans for beignets, a taco joint in San Diego, somewhere with a little more pizzazz, right? But no, I guess. So how did he get the job in the first place? He did not teleport there, no. He was tapped to head FEMA's Office of Response and Recovery last December by then DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Phillips had no experience managing emergency response, but he had spent decades working on disaster relief through nonprofits and religious organizations. And perhaps more importantly, for a role within this administration, he had a long history of election denialism. In 2016, he declared without evidence that millions of non-citizens voted in the presidential election, helping fuel the false claim that Donald Trump won the popular vote over Hillary Clinton. He did not. And in the years leading up to the 2020 election, Phillips continued promoting conspiracy theories through the organization True the Vote. Two people familiar with the matter told the Washington Post that new DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin is currently trying to steer the agency away from the sort of chaos that defined Kristi Noem's tenure. One person described Phillips to the Post as, quote, image issue with all the negative stories. So if you're keeping count, bye-bye Phillips, bye-bye Noem, bye-bye Corey Lewandowski, bye-bye Greg Bovino. Welcome departures, yes, from much of the country, but still no word on whether policy-wise all that much has changed at DHS.